Going live now. Oh my gosh. Hi, I hit the screen turned the wrong way. Silly me. Hello, people. Hi, Kendall. Hi, Ireland. Hello. Okay, so I'm going to play a not worship song today because I wanted to throw it back. But this is still a really encouraging song, and song reminds me of my dad listened to this stuff growing up, so it reminds me of when I was a kid and all of that. So give it a listen. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll get it together and we'll get it all done. Someday, when your head is much lighter. Someday, yeah, we'll walk in the ray of a beautiful sun. Someday, when the world is much brighter. You guys know this song? Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna be easier. Ooh, child, things will be brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll get it together and we'll get it all done. Someday, when your head is much lighter. Someday, yeah, we'll walk in the rays of the beautiful sun. Someday, when the world is much brighter. Child, things will be brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna be easier. Ooh, child, things will be brighter right now. Right everybody, thanks for listening to my throwback song. That's Ooh Child by the 5 Stair Steps. Fun fact. It's on like every 70s movie ever. It's essential to a good 70s or late 60s playlist and all of that. So I know some of you appreciate that. I know Hannah Williams was bopping her head pretty big to that one. So Hannah, that was for you. So we're starting a new series tonight called All In Isn't. And so our theme this year was All In. And it kind of got turned upside down with all of this digital club stuff. But we still want to be all in. And we want to be all in with you guys. And we want to be all in together. And so I'm happy to see lots of people popping on to the Instagram Live and on the Zoom call on all of that. So if you guys want to pop on the Zoom call after this for some discussion and a game of Mafia, we'll see how that goes. Just pop on and we'll have some fun and laugh together and enjoy each other's company. But a couple announcements before I start talking about All In Isn't is that number one, make sure you guys hop on the Zoom call. Brooke is writing the info in the comments. We also texted it out to everybody who gets the Campus Life text. Number two, the challenge for this week is to write a letter to someone, like a snail mail letter, and put it in the mail. Take a picture of yourself mailing a letter to a friend or to somebody who needs encouragement. It could be to your grandma for her birthday. Doesn't matter, as long as you're mailing a letter to someone and showing them some love. And so that's the big challenge. And all of that is to send a letter, to write a letter and to send a letter to someone and show some love and show some encouragement. I know we all need it. And so bring some love to the mail and all of that. So All In Isn't. Tonight we're talking about the word whatever. And the word whatever can mean a lot of different things, but what we're talking about is when you kind of throw your hands up and you're like, whatever, like I don't care. It's whatever. But it's a really important message right now because I think that we are all struggling with feeling a little bit of apathy. And what apathy is just that whatever, I don't care kind of attitude. And it's something I know I've been struggling with and all of this too. But so I've always hated the dark. Like I don't like the dark. I don't like Halloween. I don't like scary movies. I don't like even watching TV in the dark. I like to see everything that's going on around me. In my house, when I come home and the lights are off, I just turn the lights on right away. It's an instant kind of thing. Even like Pat loves watching TV in the dark. And if I come home and he's watching TV and it's dark out, then I flip all the lights on and he's like, oh my gosh. And it's just one of those things. I always have loved having all the lights on. And it might be because growing up, my dad also liked having all the lights on. Whatever. I'm sure there might be a deeper meaning in that, but that's not what we're here to talk about. But light always makes me feel so much better. It makes me feel less alone. It certainly helps me see. And when it's sunny outside, light completely changes my mindset and my attitude. Just think last week, man, we were so different because those 2 days when it was really nice outside, game changer. That brought so much joy to people and all of that. But our bodies, we were built to live in the light. We were built for sun. We need vitamin D to survive. But on the other hand, when we're in the dark for so long, and then we go into the light, it hurts our eyes. Like for example, when we're in the movie theater and you walk outside and you went and saw a movie during the day and the light flips on, like you walk outside and the light's on, you're like, ah. Or all of you who went to YFC camp, you guys are laying in your beds and you're sleeping and I have to give a little countdown of when I'm about to turn the lights on because you're all sleeping and I'm like 3, 2, 1, lights are on and you're like, oh my eyes, I'm blind. You're like, light can be so bright when our eyes are so used to darkness that it can almost blind us for a moment too. The longer we sit in the dark, the better our eyes adjust and we can see just enough. Like if you're in a really dark room, like when you first walk into that room, you can't see anything. But the longer you're in that room, the more your eyes are going to adjust to that dark. And you're going to be able to see a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And just enough to get by. Just enough to not bump into a table. Just enough to survive in that darkness. But I'm not going to go... in the darkness, like when we're there, we end up wanting to stay. Like if it's like warm and cozy in my bed and it's still dark outside and I'm just laying there, I don't really want to get out of bed. Like I just want to stay there. I want to stay in the dark. I want to stay comfortable. But doesn't that happen to all of us? Is that we just want to stay comfortable? Like I know you agree that it's easy to become accustomed to the dark. And I'm not just talking about sitting in a dark bedroom, which we love doing. But when we become comfortable with darkness, that can be on a way deeper level too. So the Bible describes sin as darkness. And darkness is the absence of light, obviously. But the absence of light is not having God. And whenever we make a choice without God included in that choice or outside of what God wants us to do, that's when we sit in darkness. That's when we choose to sit and be comfortable. We sit in darkness and it gets really comfy. We pull up our blankets, we get our warm sweatshirts, and we sit there in the darkness and we're satisfied. And so for me, I'm going to share a story about a time I was sitting in darkness and I didn't realize it. And this is a story I don't really tell very often because it's something I don't really like talking about because it's a time in my life that I wasn't really happy with for me. But in college, I had lots of great friends and everything like that, but I had one friendship in college that I was just really holding on to, and it was a pretty toxic friendship. We were like besties. We were attached to the hip, but we were codependent with each other. So that means like we had to be with each other all the time. It brought out the worst in me. Sometimes I would lie about things. Sometimes I would get angry, and I don't really get angry about stuff. I would be really possessive. I'd be manipulative, and definitely that codependency and all of that. And that's a time like I thought that I was doing good. I thought that like my friendships were awesome, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I had such a great friend. But looking back, there were so many red flags in my life that friendship was toxic and I shouldn't be friends with that person. There was red flag after red flag after red flag. But I was so insecure about myself and about my friendships that I was holding on to stuff and afraid to be left with no friends. So that fear drew me into the darkness and I was just sitting there. I didn't notice that I was there because I was so comfortable. I was so comfortable in my friendships. I was so comfortable in that toxic friendship that I was satisfied with all of that. I didn't want to do the hard thing of not being friends with that person because it was too scary. I was too comfortable where I was. And I know some of you guys have been through that because we've talked about this before. Like we've talked about like being comfortable where you're at can be such a really hard, dangerous thing. I didn't notice things because I was sitting in darkness and I felt okay about it. I was laying in my bed, my blankets tucked up in me, and I was satisfied. Even though it was at the place I knew I wasn't supposed to be, I was okay with it because I was comfortable. Darkness is scary. That's why I don't like scary movies. That's why I don't like the dark or Halloween or those things. But also comfort and being comfortable can be absolutely terrifying because it drives us to a place where we don't recognize where we are because it's so like the dark slowly fades. Have you guys ever been outside or like doing something or sitting and watching TV and you don't have any lights on, but it progressively gets darker and darker, and then all of a sudden you look around and you're like, oh my gosh, it's dark outside. I had no idea because it happened so quickly or so slowly that you didn't even realize that it was going on. So my question is, what kind of darkness are you sitting in right now? We all have it. It's not something where, well, if you're like a really good person, you won't have any darkness that you're fighting. Like we all have something in our lives that we are too comfortable in and that we are fighting this darkness or not and just sinking into it and just laying down and being like, I'm too tired to deal with this. Is it your online life? What are you doing on your phone? What are you doing on your computer? Is that something that would normally happen in light? Or are you doing things that only stay in darkness? Are you numbing yourself? Are you disengaging with life? Are you just don't want to feel anything? So maybe you're abusing alcohol. Maybe you're abusing Netflix. Maybe you're abusing Instagram and TikTok. Maybe those are the things that you're using to stay comfortable in dark. Is it your friendships like I had? Is it your unhealthy dating relationships? What are you texting your boyfriend or girlfriend? What are some things you guys are talking about? Is that stuff that should be in the light, or are you too comfortable with this relationship? Where the darkness has settled in your life and you haven't taken time to notice because you're too comfortable. Where are those things? Do you have red flags that you're not noticing because it's dark? You can't notice that kind of stuff. You're too comfortable with that. Just like what I was. There are lots of places where you can sit and be comfortable in the darkness. Darkness is the thing that makes you say whatever. Like, whatever, I don't care. It's dark, whatever. I can't see anything. I give up. It's too hard. I'm too tired. We end up just laying back down in our dark bedroom and going back to sleep and not getting up and walking out towards the light. So for me, I had to end that friendship. I had to do the really hard thing of ending that friendship. And with that, I lost kind of a group of friends. I know that some of you guys have talked about how hard that have been for your lives. But we have to choose to be better. We have to choose to move closer to Jesus. It was a battle for me every day. It wasn't just this like one-time thing where like, okay, well, I'm just going to go towards the light. Like, no, it was every day I had to make that choice. Every day I still have to make that choice. But like any good Hollywood movie or any good superhero movie, light always comes out on top. If you fight hard enough and if you have God fighting with you. So God describes himself as light. So if darkness is something you're struggling with, God is the opposite of darkness. He is light. In a letter of one of Jesus' followers, John, he wrote, it says, God is pure light. You will never find even a trace of darkness in him. And he goes on to write, if we claim that we share life with him, which is God, but we keep walking in the realm of darkness, we're fooling ourselves and not living in the truth. So let's actually take some time today, some real life time, and ask ourselves and God if we're struggling with any darkness. What is going on in your heart, in your mind, in your life that could be sitting in darkness? Darkness doesn't have to be just some big, terrible thing. It can slowly creep up into our lives, and we don't even notice it until it's pitch black. Right now, things can be pretty dark. Right now, things can seem really hard because we're not really doing a lot. We are sitting around and we're looking at a screen all day, even if we're connecting with other people. Right now, you guys are looking at a screen. And it can feel pretty dark and hopeless sometimes. But in this darker time in your life, you have to fight it and you have to be intentional more than you ever have any other time. When we feel the most comfortable is when we don't even realize the places darkness could be taking us. It's a battle and a choice every day to choose light, to choose Jesus. If we're not actively struggling with darkness, that isn't because there's no darkness in our lives, but it's because the darkness has become too comfortable. Like the darkness in the movie theater when we walk outside. Are there things that are too comfortable in your life? Darkness can creep in, and before we know it, we are doing things that we would have never done in the light. We might look at ourselves and be like, how did I get here? Darkness can creep in. But man, what is darkness? It's the opposite of light, like we talked about. And God describes himself as light. So therefore, it's anything outside of what God wants for us. Sometimes it can be something huge in our lives, like pornography, like lying, like unhealthy relationships, like anger, resentment, substance abuse. But right now, it could be something as simple as inactivity. It can be something as simple as just numbing yourself and not dealing with your own life. It could be as simple as slowly sinking into apathy and just saying whatever to anything, not caring about anything that would help you grow. Darkness can sometimes just be saying whatever to your own life and to God, and then going back to bed. I want to say that again. Darkness can sometimes be just saying whatever to your own life and to God and just going back to bed. Today, don't just say whatever. Don't just roll your eyes, throw your hands up, and be like, I'm tired, I'm comfortable, whatever. Do something about it. Don't just go back to your darkness. Don't just lay back in bed. Don't just get comfortable again. Stand up. Say, Jesus, I want to be all in with you. Start moving towards light. And not just like go outside. I mean, talk spiritual. I'm talking internal light. Maybe you've grown so comfortable with places of the dark that you don't even know to start. Well, you can start by asking God to say, God, show me where you want that light to come in to me. All in doesn't mean saying whatever to the darkness. All in means running as fast as you can to the light that only God provides. The light of a God who loves you unconditionally and who created you exactly who you're supposed to be. But we miss that so much when we sit in the dark. All in means fighting for light every second of every day. I have to choose to not sit in darkness every single day. Your leaders have to choose to not sit in darkness every single day. You have to choose every day to not just lay back in bed and say, well, whatever, I'm comfortable. There's a better life that we have on the other side of darkness. And it is in light. It is in those bright, sunshine, beautiful days. The feelings you have during those days after a period of dark is not even comparing to the feeling that you can get when you sit in the light that God can provide. So as a reminder of that today, of what running towards Jesus can look like, I want you to challenge you to go to a quiet place, to put your phone down and to light a candle, or to have some sort of light around you. But to light a candle and have that candle and just look at the light. Notice what it does and notice how it lights the room. And I want you to ask God this simple question. God, where's darkness in me? Where am I too comfortable? Am I not noticing something that I should be noticing with my life? And then just listen. Just listen and see if God brings something to your mind, if God brings something to your heart and all of that. And after that, I want you to tell a leader, tell a friend, tell somebody you can trust, tell your parents, whoever you can trust in your life, to help you move from darkness to the light. Because I couldn't do it on my own, and I know it's hard for us to do it on ours, but God is light, and in him there is no darkness. So run to God and run to the light. So we are going to move on to our Zoom call now. Thanks for joining us, all of you. I see some really wonderful people. Manuela, I miss you all the way across the country. So, I mean the world, really. But hop on to the Zoom call. Thanks for joining, everybody. I love you all so very much. Live in the light. You're awesome.